there, and welcome to a brand new episode of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hasseman, and joining me today is a brand new rock star. Super excited to dive into this topic today. He heads up SwagCycle. We're going to learn about that. Ben Grossman, thanks so much for joining me.
Kirby, thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So I want to dive right in there. So I love the concept of SwagCycle. I've read up a little bit about it, but for those who are unaware, can you talk about what SwagCycle is and what it stands for?
SwagCycle is a platform to help companies divest of their obsolete branded merchandise in a responsible way. So
Mm,
what that means, we take two parallel paths. One is we facilitate charitable donations of obsolete branded merchandise. And when I say obsolete branded merchandise, companies make swag. They put their logos on high quality items, but then when a company gets when they rebrand, they change their
mm,
logo. There's an acquisition. They change their marketing campaign. Sometimes those high quality items are no longer needed anymore by the company, and we have seen the problem of obsolete swag in our industry because I wear two hats. I founded SwagCycle a few years ago, but I also co-lead a distributorship, Grossman Marketing Group, with my brother Dave. We're headquartered in the Boston area. And we've seen what happens when companies rebrand, get acquired, change marketing messaging. And oftentimes companies don't really know what to do with those goods sitting in their office or their vendor's warehouse. And oftentimes those goods can end up in a landfill, not
mm.
because a company doesn't care about the environment, but it's because they have so many things on their plate, they're not sure what to do with it.
Sure.
So understanding what that challenge was and what our experience was in the industry, we set out to build a platform to address that challenge of obsolete swag, and we built out SwagCycle. So we've built out nationwide and actually global partnerships with charitable partners who can take the goods for stated causes and stated reasons, and we're very transparent about that,
Mm.
where the goods are going, and we always get approval from the donor of what organization those goods will be sent to. If a company does not want the goods to live on in the marketplace, then we work with them on a recycling or upcycling project.
Well, it's a super cool concept. And right before we started recording, you referenced with me some of the results so far. I know you keep track of that, so I know I'm going off script a little bit, but those were impressive numbers, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that.
Thank you. We got started in fall of 2019, right before the pandemic. So in about 3 years, we facilitated just a little more than $2.5 million of charitable donations,
Wow.
and we have diverted more than 1.3 million items from landfills. So
Yeah.
the key term here is landfill divergence. We are focused on both social impact by getting good quality items to worthy causes to make a difference in people's lives and treat people with the dignity and respect they deserve, and getting them high quality water bottles and backpacks and notebooks for their programming, but then also keeping items out of landfills, which has a significant environmental benefit from a greenhouse gas emission perspective. And we're really proud of the impact so far.
That's awesome. Congratulations. And I mean that. That's really incredible. So so you said since fall of 2019, you've been doing this. So what are some things you've learned during this journey that has surprised you?
There are so many good products out there that companies have that they just don't know what to do with them. And it's been really eye-opening to build out hundreds of charitable partnerships around the globe, with organizations like YMCA, Boys and Girls Clubs, Dress for Success, United Way, Catholic Charities, and a whole host of others. And so it's been really eye-opening to build those partnerships with these charities and actually get involved in their field efforts.
Hmm.
One of the projects about which we're most proud is supporting the YMCA in Greater Houston. They reached out to us in summer 2021 when they were anticipating helping to resettle a couple hundred families from Afghanistan on
Hmm.
special immigrant visas to the United States. the refugees as a result of the ongoing turmoil in Afghanistan and the American force pullout from that area.
Mm.
And they reached out to us because they were working to resettle these families and needed to outfit them in their temporary housing with coffee mugs and drinkware, backpacks for the kids, notebooks, apparel. They really asked, especially for long sleeve clothing for the women for religious purposes. And then they wanted to also put together really fun swag bags for local teenage youth mentors who
Mm.
lived in the Houston area, who would come in and volunteer their time to work with the Afghani youth to help them get acclimated to American culture. And over the last year, we've worked with them to help resettle more than 1,000 families,
Mm.
and we've facilitated probably 25 to 30 different corporate donations, comprising $300,000 to $400,000 of charitable donations. And what was really exciting from this project is we actually, when the YMCA reached out to us, we sent a message to our database, and we got tremendous response from corporate donors who said, great, we have some extra hoodies in our office, we'll send them your way. We have water bottles, we have backpacks, we just had a rebrand. And oftentimes people are sitting on these goods and they just don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
They're collecting dust. And so what we've been really proud to do is find a productive outlet for those goods.
Yeah, it's really cool. And so that's the it makes sense to me that people would want to do good with something that they didn't know, that they don't know what to do with. But I'm curious, some brands are pretty particular about where their brands end up. So I'm curious if you've received any pushback on the concept, and if so, where from?
It's a great question. Yes, we have. Companies are definitely very particular about their brand,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes they've just maybe been burned in the past
Yeah.
where goods went to supposedly some charity and then they were resold somewhere unbeknownst to them. And so to address that pain point, we work with our charitable partners and get full transparency from them. So we find out what they plan to do with these goods, who they're going to. We report that back to the donor and get their approval first. So it's fully transparent process to know how the goods are going to be used to address that challenge. But then, again, we find that organizations, especially if they do home visits, they have a concern about potentially their goods going and someone picking up a jacket and someone impersonating one of their workers going to someone's home. And so we heard from a very large in-home healthcare organization in the Midwest very early on in our time building out SwagCycle, where they rebranded and they had a lot of apparel and they could not go to charity for that exact purpose because it was all about patient safety.
Right.
And so they turned to SwagCycle to help them recycle those goods. And so in addition to building out charitable partnerships around the globe, we've built out recycling and upcycling partnerships around the globe. And what we did was we took the clothing and we had them shredded and turned into things like painter's rags, carpet pad fill, insulation materials, mattress fill, and other industrial products to keep those items out of landfills, but also keep them out of circulation. And we've been on site to a number of our recycling partners, and we've been involved recently with some very large companies who've turned to us with rebrands where, again, they didn't want the goods floating around, but they wanted a responsible solution to keeping the goods out of landfills, getting a certificate of recycling, making sure those goods weren't just thrown in a dumpster.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Well, this is really, there's a lot to be excited about on this project. So, but I'm curious about, final question for you is, what's been the most exciting part for you?
Just building it. I've loved the act of building. When we set out to start this a few years ago, I read that book Lean Startup by Eric Ries, and we decided, we said, look, let's build out a minimum viable product. Let's build out the site. Let's do a little bit of marketing, content. Let's start building some partnerships with charities, with some recycling partners. Let's see what happens. And it's just grown and grown, and we've really hit this flywheel where we're hearing from new companies who are looking to divest of their merchandise every single day. And we've
Wow.
worked with some of the world's largest companies on both recycling and charitable projects. In fact, one company that provided a positive testimonial to us for our impact report in 2021 was Amazon.
Mm,
We helped them with some textile recycling, some
mm.
apparel recycling. So it's just been fun to build it. And the most meaningful work has been to make a difference in the community with these really fantastic causes to get these products that sometimes we take for granted, being in the marketing
Right.
and promotional industry, that make a difference in people's lives every day.
Wow, that's really awesome, Ben. I appreciate you taking the time to talk a little bit about it, and I wish you the best. I think this is really exciting, and I'm excited that we get a chance to talk about this here on Delivering Marketing Joy. So, Ben, thanks so much, and we'll have to do it again sometime. Okay.
Kirby, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right. Cool. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.